What's going on, good people? Happy Thursday to you. Welcome to the Pro Fan Talk. My name is Marcus Thomas. As always, thank you for joining me. Appreciate everybody being with me from the giddy up, from the first snap. Sean Young, number one out the limo. Fam TK is number two. Grandson Chris is number three. Granddaughter Sarah is number four. Ryan Daly, number five out the limo. I appreciate y'all from the rip. That's what's going on, man. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope you had a good Christmas. Hope it didn't get too cold wherever you are. If you're in the Midwest, man, keep them space heaters handy. Get you a generator in the house and keep it moving. Let's go. It has been a very eventful day in the Philadelphia media and also around the NFL. You know me. The NFL is a gift that keeps on giving. And today is no different. A lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff. The whole Derek Carr situation. If you guys have been following me on my Facebook group at Pro Fan Talk, by the way, that this new era of professional athletes, they're different, man. They're different. The way they act and react and go about stuff. Everybody's sensitive. Nobody's talking it out. Nobody's hashing it out. There's no arguments. They scrub their social media page, but it's not their fault. It's not their fault. They are a byproduct of what happened before them, how they were raised, how they were put in the mix, and this is what you get. Now, we're going to get into that a little bit more because it's not all on Derek Carr. The Raiders have a lot to do with it. But before we get into that, we gotta show some respect. We gotta show the proper respect to the GOAT. So let's pop that up right here. The GOAT, man. Pele passed today. The GOAT. Most of y'all young fellas, y'all know I'm an old cat. I'm an old head. Grew up in the 70s and 80s. Played in the 90s. So I've seen the progression and I've seen the evolution of the game as what we see today. Football has changed. Basketball has changed. Baseball has changed. Soccer has remained the same. Although I will say there's probably a lot more flopping now because it's televised. But this dude right here, if you never had the opportunity to see Pele play, or you maybe you wasn't alive at that particular time, because heck, I wasn't alive during his prime years, but I saw enough of him. I remember when he played in the States. I remember, I believe he was on Wild World of Sports a lot of times back in the day. So, like, it was a big deal. Like, it's hard for people to quantify how big Pele would be in this day and age because everything is so different. Like, Magic Johnson times Michael Jordan times LeBron times Messi times Ronaldo. That's how big Pele is. That's how big he was when he was playing ball, because he did it. He captured the world. He was from basically the projects, the slums in Brazil. And he was on the Brazilian national team at 17 years old and brought the World Cup home at 17. And he was dirt poor, to the point where if you read some of the stories on him, when they won the cup, his family was so poor, he didn't even know if they were able to listen to the game. And then when he finally got back home, he saw the party and the parade in the streets and all of that kind of stuff, and understood how big it was. He didn't even know. The first time he got on the plane as a kid was when he went to go play in the World Cup. But Pele was huge. Pele was yes, Sean, I remember Victory. I watched that. It wasn't a very good movie, but I remember watching that. The only reason you watched it was because you wanted to see Pele win the game, and then they finally break through the sauna, the tub. I remember when the dudes was tunneling under so they could escape, and after they decided to go out and win the game, and they still escaped. I believe it was a happy ending, but that was you wanted to see that movie so you could see Pele play ball. That's the only reason he was in that movie. But I remember Victory. It wasn't a great movie, but I loved the movie. I'm good for a good bad movie, so I'm with you on that one, Sean. But Pele was huge, man. Pele was if you didn't even like soccer, you knew who Pele was. That's how big he was. And then you talking about from the standpoint of, again, before social media existed. You knew Pele because he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. He was in the intro of Wild World of Sports. He'll always be known, that guy that did the bicycle kick, all of that kind of stuff. All of that stuff came from Pele. Soccer as we knew it, as we know it now, blew up because of Pele in the United States. And a big reason, when they, what was it, the MISL? Whatever, I believe it was the first iteration of it. Pele played for the New York team and got a lot of attention. And listen, I'll tell any, because soccer for the most part is still not as popular as it should be in the States. Like, it's just straight facts on that one. And it never will be, because, and it's weird, and I don't understand it, because most kids play either soccer or basketball growing up, and then they kind of filter out. But football, American football, took over, and that's where they started paying folks. If something would have happened where they could have had a professional soccer league earlier and profitable and on TV and everything that comes with it, I don't know what the dynamics was when all of this stuff happened. I'm not sure how did they kick that to the curb, and football, and I mean, baseball has always been there. So baseball is our national pastime, but maybe, I don't know. I don't know what was going on back in the 70s and stuff like that, when it became baseball, then football took over, then basketball took over. And the only reason basketball really took over was because of the Dream Team. When the Dream Team won the Olympics, and the Dream Team is the reason why you got all of these foreign players, from Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, not Ja Morant, but the Greek Freak. And what's the dude that just dropped 60 the other night? Isn't he from Russia? I forget. But I mean, it's Pele was huge, man, and he started the grind for international credit, like international accommodation, where everybody was watching your sport around the world. And for the most part, that's what the NFL is trying to do now. That's why they're having games in Mexico and in London and in Germany. We were the test for the NFL. The NFL is doing what they're doing now, comes from the test that we were playing in NFL Europe and the World League. We were the litmus test for that. Because look at where the NFL is going now. They go to London, they go to Germany, they go to Mexico. Mexico is a little bit different, because whenever you do something in Mexico, that's just their culture. Everybody's going. There's nothing else to do. But when we were in the World League, Barcelona, Amsterdam, Germany, and London, specifically London and Germany, those games were always packed. Those games were always packed. London was always pretty good, but Germany, could nobody touch Germany. Amsterdam was good, but Amsterdam was not as good. Germany was where everybody wanted to go. Germany knew how to throw a party. Germany knew how to promote. Everybody showed up. Germany just knew how to do it, and that's why they're going through now. Yeah, you can say it failed, but like I said, we were the litmus test. They did it long enough. I was in the World League. I was in Scotland, 90, 95, 6, and 7. And the World League went into the early 2000s before it finally shut down. So it had a good run. The World League lasted longer than the USFL. It lasted longer than the XFL. And now you got USFL and the XFL coming up on their second try. When I played in the World League, that was our second try. And we lasted a lot longer because they were a little bit smarter about what they were trying to do, especially about the money and all of that kind of stuff. So, yes, it kind of was a failure, but not really. We got a chance to play football. We got a chance to play travel around the world. I'll tell anybody. I didn't play long with the Eagles, but in totality, my career, I got a chance to travel the world. I was at the top 1% of my class, and I did more than most. So you got no regrets from me, but that's why the NFL is trying to go worldwide. But the original subject of it is you go all the way back to Pele. He made a world pay attention to him. So got to give the respects to Pele, man. That was huge. Seeing that he passed away today. 82 years old from colon cancer. So now the business at hand, the Eagles. What are we going to do? Who's going to start? Is Jalen Hurts playing? Is Gardner Minshew playing? Lane Johnson, what's going on with him? Is Jack Driscoll going to start? We got all these issues going on, man. All these issues. And everybody wants to know what's going to happen with QB1. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. He is the straw that stirs the drink, for sure. Me personally, I want to see him play. I don't want to see them set him down for another game. I believe if he would have played versus Dallas, we would have won that game. Period. Everybody's raving about Dak Prescott now. Don't get it twisted. Dak was on fire. At one point, he was 14 for 14 for like 120 yards after that pick six by Josh Sweat. If we don't have four flipping turnovers, we win that game with ease. And you know what? Take the turnovers off the table. Even with the turnovers, if the defense makes those stops, if Avonte Maddox holds on to Dak Prescott and gets the sack on the blitz, we're off the field, we get the ball back. If when we get that sack, Hassan Reddick got a strip sack, we don't recover the fumble. The next play, we get another sack. Then we got that 3rd and 30, and we let that 3rd and 30 go. So we had 3 or 4 opportunities for our defense to get them off the field, and we couldn't do it. We couldn't do it. We shut them down. We shut the run game down. That's been our biggest, you got one chink in the armor, now you find another. We were getting hazed about the run game. We tighten up the run game, and then what happens? Our mid to deep middle is just Swiss cheese. The Josiah Scott experience is not going well again. Hopefully, he'll get a little bit better. If you guys heard me on Sports Take with Barrett Brooks yesterday, we talked about that, and it's like him getting a full week's worth of work running with the ones. That does make a difference. So he should be better and a little bit more mentally prepared this week than he was last week. Avante started last week, then he got hurt. So he's got to come in. But when you go with the ones, you just get a little bit more mentally prepared for what you have to do. Now, having said that, he was just outclassed against CD Lamb. And going forward, any team that plays us, any team that plays the Eagles, they would be stupid not to attack Josiah Scott until he shows that he can handle what's coming his way. They would be silly not to attack him because he's the weak link in that secondary right now. Our defensive line is solid. Our linebackers are solid. Our chink in the armor right now is our defensive secondary. Slay hasn't been beat like that all year. And the last 3-4 games, Slay has been playing below expectations. Bradbury still being solid, but even last week against Dallas, you saw that. You saw it wasn't CD Lamb. What's the other running back? I'm sorry, wide receiver. He shook him, froze him. Bradbury was expecting him to go inside, and he went outside. And they ended up scoring a touchdown on that. So even with last week, even with the 4 turnovers that we gave away, we still had an opportunity to win, a legit opportunity to win. Thank you. That was T. Now, I don't think it was TY that scored on that touchdown. I think that was the TY was 3rd and 30, Sean. CD Lamb. Gallup. I think it was Gallup that showed up. But if we just get one of those stops and get them off the field, that's a different ballgame. It's a different ballgame. So I want to see Jalen Hurts start this week because I want to see us take care of business this week so it's not an issue anymore. Then you can rest Jalen Hurts for the next 2 weeks. So that's another 2 weeks of rest. I don't know why anybody would want your starting quarterback to sit for 4 weeks. That is insane. I know people think otherwise, but I'm here to tell you, rust is real. Rust is for real. You cannot sit somebody for 4 weeks. They take practice reps, and a lot of times when you come in a game like that, you just not as sharp. Game speed is different. Don't let nobody tell you different. Game speed and practice speed are 2 totally separate things. Yeah, you got reps in practice, but it ain't game speed. So I'm interested to see Jalen Hurts and let him play, let him take care of business. If they got to throw it, throw it. I'll take Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert and A.J. Brown over whatever injured secondary the Saints have. I will take those matchups. And as we've seen, like the Green Bay game, if Jalen has to drop back and throw it, no problem. He doesn't have to run. Jake, Agree with the poll. No need to shake the O-line around. Jack is serviceable. Absolutely 100%. Let the big man rest up. Driscoll's been his backup all year. Why would you change it now? That wouldn't make sense. Driscoll is a better run blocker than he is pass blocker. In my opinion, if you know Driscoll is going to start, then what you do is you line him up in practice every play. He's getting a healthy dose every play of Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat. Every play, them jokers is on rotation. If you want to throw a little BG in there, that would be his practice all day. You going against the best of the best. Let me put Hassan Reddick, who's in the NFL lead, one of the leaders in sacks. You're going to come across, you're going to go against the best off the ball in practice every day to get you ready. We know you can run block. Pass blocking is a little bit suspect, so let's get that work in. That's what they should do. Now, here's a situation where I trust Coach Stoutland implicitly, like, listen, I know you got it. Frank, what's good, brother? Coach Stoutland has got it, and he going to put him through the ringer and let him get the work in and get that film study in so he can get it right. Last time he started, he wasn't bad. So it's not like we're hurting, but at the end of the day, Lane Johnson is playing at an elite level, and Jack Driscoll is not Lane Johnson. But you the man for the job. Eagles have been talking all year about next man up. Well, there you have it. He's the next man up. So we going to see. We are going to see. Yeah, we got to get BG that sack. We're going to talk about that in a minute, Sean. Here's what I wanted to show you, because I've been hearing all this stuff, and I was like, wait a minute, y'all get this mixed up. And here again, and I've been saying this a lot. Stop listening to all the media heads, the ESPN and all the sports, all of the shows that you see in the morning, because they don't watch film. They get highlights, and that's what they go. And everybody, all of those ESPN type shows, everybody's been saying he's got an abdominal injury. He does not have an abdominal injury. He has an adductor injury. That is totally different. That is not abdominal. Adductor, if you look at the point where your legs connect and you grab your inner thigh as high as you can, those are your adductors. And when you hurt your adduct, that is bad business. That is your groin area. That is one of those things where it is very, very difficult. It's very difficult to rehab a groin. It is very difficult to rehab a hamstring. The only way to rehab it is to rest. So what he's going to do is he's going to rest these next 2 weeks. And if we win this game this weekend, he's resting the next 3 weeks. Lane Johnson is somebody I want to rest for a month. Avonte Maddox, you want to rest for a month. But I think the lot has been cast for Avonte Maddox. That injury he's got on his toe, oof. He's going to be in bad shape. He really needs surgery on that one. So ain't really much you can do. But Lane is going to grit it out. So what they're going to do is they're going to shoot him up, and he's going to play through it. And what you're doing is you are hoping that he doesn't make it worse. That's what you're hoping. Now, apparently, the guy that he sees in Philly, the doc he saw in Philly, is the same doc that everybody goes to see. He's like the number one doc in the country for this type of stuff. to the point where people from other teams will fly to Philly to see him and then fly right back to wherever their city is. So he is that dude. And we got him right here at home. So if he's getting the second opinions from him, that's as good as you're gonna get. And if he's telling him he's okay and he should be okay to play through it and just get surgery after the season, well, we gonna roll with that. But adductor injuries are bad business, man. Anytime you lift your knee in the air, you feel it in your inner thighs. That is not fun. So I hope he can grin and bear it. I hope we can get him and keep him to the bitter end because we're going to need him. So just wanted to clear that up. And this stuff today, this, oh my God. Like what? I saw this today. I just started laughing. This was started the whole thing about today's athletes being different. They're just different. They're not brought up the same way. So their expectations are totally different. And they are not better for it. Because as a player dealing with this, everybody is going to go through their stuff. Everybody's going to go through their stuff. And in this day and age with this modern football player, nobody wants to take their lumps. Everybody is, you talk to anybody, any veteran or retired player, and they will tell you in no uncertain terms that there will always be arguments in the locker room because the locker room is like a family. And anybody who has siblings know you're going to fight with your family, period. That's as far as you need to go. But this new earlier before the season started, you saw the stuff with Kyler Murray, and he scrubbed his social media page. And then the stuff with Devontae Adams. And then the stuff with who else was it? It was somebody else that scrubbed their social media page because they didn't want to. They were mad at the way things were. And it was like, man, you better get into that office and talk your talk to make a deal happen. But now the social media game is ain't nobody communicating anymore. Back in the day, you go in the office and you yell and scream and y'all hash it out, but you came out of there with an agreement. And this is coming out of left field, but I'm gonna throw it anyways, because if you've seen it, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it, watch Lean on Me with Morgan Freeman, Robert Guillaume, the principal, Mr. Clark, the New Jersey School, Crazy Joe. Now they can call me Batman. That Lean on Me. Watch that movie. There's a scene in that movie where the stuff is hitting the fan. And Robert Guillaume essentially is Morgan Freeman's boss. And they have an argument. They have an epic argument. Matter of fact, you could probably look it up on YouTube and find that scene. Joe Clark argument or whatever. It's easy to find. But they had this knockdown, and they friends. Been friends for years, so the movie describes. And they have basically this knockdown, drag out argument. Like they going at it. And at the end of that argument, Robert Guillaume puts an exclamation point. I won't say it. When you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. He puts an exclamation point on his argument, and then he's walking out, and he stops. And he looks at Morgan Freeman and says, now come on and let's go get something to eat. after all of that. The bottom line was they were still friends, they still worked together, and they had a common goal. And I'm saying all of that to say these players today don't do that. These players today are like, and you know what? Think back. Think back. If you remember Antonio Brown, when he live streamed the post game speech by Mike Tomlin, that's what started all of this. That it didn't start it, but that was the catalyst of it where you started seeing it more and more. It was already going on, but you had never seen it infiltrate like that before. That was just like it he crossed the line. Everybody knew he crossed the line. And then ever since that incident, it was steadily more and more and more and more and more. Now to the point where if you're announcing something, there's no press conference anymore. J.J. Watt's going to retire. What did he do? He posted it on his Twitter feed. It's just a different era now, and nobody talks things out. You can have a drag out argument with somebody and still shake hands and get what you want done. But in this day and age, if you don't agree with somebody, it's like they want to shut it down. And it's like, I don't know. These athletes built different. Nobody wants to take their lumps. Everybody's impatient. Everybody's impatient. Look at what's going on in New York. You done benched your number 2 pick at QB, number 2 overall in the draft. You done benched him. You benched him. And I don't know if he can get that locker room back. I don't know if the locker room wants him back. And I'm certain what I've seen of Zach Wilson, he ain't that bad. Zach Wilson is struggling as a rookie quarterback, just like most other rookie quarterbacks struggle. You throw him in there, and it is a lot to learn. And again, because of all this social media, everybody is hyped. And because you see somebody you used to seeing so many people, because of it, the expectations go through the roof. And it's like, no, you got to temper that down. You got to bring that down a notch. They're not ready for that. You got them up here. You need to put them down here a little bit. They're not ready. And for people to expect them to be ready, it's unrealistic. It's unrealistic. You look at Peyton Manning, who some consider one of the best ever. You look at Troy Aikman, who some consider one of the best ever. You look at Drew Brees. You name any quarterback, and you look at their first couple of years in the league and how they struggle. You already know the struggles with Aikman. You already know the struggles with Manning. Manning was god awful his first year in the league. Troy Aikman was 1-15 his first year in the league. They took their lumps. But even the coaches knew, Jimmy Johnson, 1-15 his first year. But he knew right off the bat what it took and the time it was going to take. But nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do that. Chris Kaufman, I appreciate you, brother. I ain't want to forget that. Much appreciated, man. So, I don't know. Derry, he's definitely out of Vegas. But this is what I wanted to share with you. Hold on. It's not their fault. If Carr gets injured in the last 2 games, hold on, I want to see that. If he gets injured in the last 2 games, $32.9 million salary for next season and 7.5 of his salary for 2024 would be guaranteed. So putting Carr in bubble wrap for the last 2 games at least keeps that guarantee for injury factor at bay. At the end of the line, it's always about money. At the end of the day, it's always about them dollars. So that's why Derek Carr was like, yeah, I'm just going to step away. I don't want to be a distraction. You know what that was? That was Derek Carr giving the big FU to the Raiders. And the funny part is, it amazes me. They'll tell you Nathaniel Hackett got fired, Frank Wright got fired, and you gonna tell me Josh McDaniels gonna keep his job? Come on, stop playing. You got the guy you wanted at quarterback. You definitely got the guy you wanted at wide receiver. You got the number one rushing running back in the league, and y'all still can't win. Josh McDaniels needs to be fired. On his third opportunity after all of the mess that he's been through. Come on, man. Stop playing. He should have been out the league. At best, he'd be back up in New England coaching with Belichick. So, that is what it is. But, and watch. Tom Brady is not going to retire. He's going to leave New England. He's going to leave Tampa Bay, go back to New England. Gronkowski is going to come out of retirement and play for the Patriots one more year. They're going to play one more year together. I'm calling it right now. Tom Brady's going to leave Tampa Bay, and Gronkowski is going to come out of retirement, and they're both going to go back to the Patriots and play one more year together with the Patriots. Mac Jones is going to sit out for a year, watch the GOAT, and then come back and be ready to play. That's my prediction. That is my prediction. Because unless Tampa Bay finds some way to make it to the playoffs, they're not mathematically out of the playoffs yet. Because let's keep it real. Tom Brady don't want to go out like this. He don't want to go out like this. He should have went out when he won his last Super Bowl. That's what he should have done. But hey, you keep taking them vitamins and listening to the wrong people, and it is what it is. Jose, will Driscoll take over for Lane to the playoffs? Probably, unless, in my opinion, unless Driscoll just plays god awful. Unless he's a revolving door on that right edge, he's gonna be in there. He's been there all year. It wouldn't make sense to change up now. That would be counterproductive because a lot of people want to see Dillard go to left tackle, Mailata go to right tackle, and keep Driscoll as the backup. Well, don't do that. Now you're changing up too much stuff. You're doing too much, like my twin would say. So let's just keep it as it is. And it's not like Driscoll hasn't been, working his butt off and all that kind of stuff. Go with the guy. That's your guy. He's the backup. He's the starter now. Hey, everybody else got to deal with the same stuff. So I think Driscoll, to answer the question, Jose, I think he's going to do it. He's going to be there until hopefully we can take care of business. And then he will be the starting right tackle this week and also next week against the Giants. And that's it. I'm with you, man. No need. Don't start playing with stuff. Don't start. It's too late to do that. So no need to move Mailata. Keep him right where he is. He's been playing decent all year. Looks like his shoulder's finally healed up. Don't change a thing. So we'll see what happens. He's not Winston Justice against Zaire. But it'll be, we'll see what they're going to do. And also, I've been seeing today, a lot of people are saying the same things about Miles Sanders. Are they going to re-sign Miles Sanders? I think they should. Josh Jacobs is the number one rusher in the league right now, as of today. Look at his stats, though. Here are the stats for Miles Sanders and Josh Jacobs. 1175 to 1539. 236 carries to 306 carries. 11 touchdowns apiece. 4.97 to 5.02 yards per carry. They are basically identical. And I added it up. If you take that 4.97 yards per carry for Miles Sanders and you add the difference in carries, it's the same. It's exactly the same. There is no difference. So if you took, let me see, 306 minus 236, the difference is 70 carries. So Josh Jacobs has 70 more carries than Miles Sanders. Now, if you take those 70 carries and multiply that times 4.97 yards a carry, you come up with 347 yards. Now, you add 347 yards to Miles Sanders' 1175, and you got 1,522 yards. Their stats are virtually the same. And here's my gripe. I mean, if Miles Sanders takes the bag somewhere else, and we manage to get Josh Jacobs, what have we gained? If we play him, let's just say hypothetically we get Josh Jacobs, what have we actually gained if we play Josh Jacobs the same way they've been playing Miles Sanders? What have we gained? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because you're not using him the right way. Are they gonna get down in the red zone and take him out of the game and put in Gainwell like they do now? Listen, Public Enemy, I agree, man. I'm with you. The RPO would be crazy. The problem is the RPO has nothing to do with the Eagles running Josh Jacobs 3 or 4 times a half. And then coming back like, yeah, we should have got him the ball more. It's like after the fact. Like, no. And I've been saying this all year. Miles Sanders is a number one back. I don't care what anybody says. You can not like him, but you can't argue with the stats he's putting up. In spite of the way the Eagles have been running him. They don't treat him like a number one back. How the hell you going to get in the red zone, you inside the 5, and you put damn Gainwell in the game? That part I don't understand. Miles Sanders is a bigger, stronger dude. Miles Sanders is faster. And what does Gainwell do? He tries to jump on the 3-yard line. If he keeps his feet on the ground, he scores. Sanders is a number one running back. You have to treat him like a number one running back. I take that personal. Me being a running back. The only time Miles Sanders should come out of the game is when Miles Sanders looks over to the sideline and puts his hand on his helmet like I need a break. That's the only time he should be coming out of the game. Screw them packages. He can catch the ball. They do our offense a disservice every time they take him out of the game. Taking Miles Sanders out of the game and running every daggone run play out of gun. You're doing a disservice to the run game. Did y'all pay attention to that Devontae Smith touchdown from Gardner Minshew? What did they do? Gardner Minshew was under center. They changed up the formation a little bit. Sticks that ball out to the right, and what happens? Everybody flows. He pulls it. Devontae Smith is wide as open. Wide open. That would not have happened from a gun formation. Because Miles Sanders was going downhill and you stick that ball out, it is an instinct. It's an instinct. When you stick the ball out, what does everybody do? Everybody goes to the ball. That's what you're trained to do as a football player from knee high, flag football, all the way up. Get to the ball. I used to do this drill when I was with the GT Stallions. I used to get all the kids around me, and I would be touching the ball, and I would tell them, I was like, what's the object of this game? And somebody would say, get to the ball. And I would say, well, here's the ball. And I would take off. And all the kids would run around. We did it like a little game before practice, and everybody would have to run around, try to catch me, and try to put their hands on the ball. When you stick that ball out there, by instinct, everybody goes to the ball. You pull the linebackers up, and you can leak people out into space. Dallas killed us with that early the game. They didn't get an opportunity to do it as much that game, but they did run it. I believe it was an incomplete pass when they threw it, but the guy was open. We need more play action with our quarterback under center, period. I'm tired of saying that. I'm tired of saying stop taking Miles Sanders out of the game. I'm tired of saying, why does our running back only have 3 carries at the end of the first half? Roy Kidd was never taking me out of the game unless I needed to come out of the game. Dead tired. If I broke off an 80-something yard run or a 50-yard run or whatever, I'm in the game unless I'm just my tongue is on the ground. And I don't understand the philosophy that Steichen and Sirianni. I know they put in all these packages, but it's like, man, you want your best foot forward at every play. Every play, man. Every play. And all of those linebackers, they can't match up with Miles Sanders. Use it. Because every time you bring in Pollard, I'm sorry, Pollard. Oh, God, forgive me. Every time you bring in Gainwell, there's a package for Gainwell. So all of these teams that have been watching tape, they know when Gainwell comes in the game, here are the plays that they run with Gainwell. That's how they watch tape. They got over 100 plays of when Gainwell comes in the game, and then they break down them 100 plays and say, okay, every time they're in this formation, this is what they do. Every time they're in this formation, this is what they do. So they know every time they bring them in what's going to happen. They know they have a general idea of what's coming. We don't play very smart sometimes, and I don't get it. Everybody and their mama knows that Gardner Minshew is not running RPOs. Right? You still try to run a couple of them to keep them honest, but for the most part, they're not running RPOs. So what do? If you look at the game last week, Dallas stacks the box. You got 8 men in the box, and a couple times they even had 9 men in the box. And what do we try to do? You trying to hand the ball off to Miles Sanders going east and west. One time, it was 3rd and 2. Dallas Goedert gets beat across his face. Micah Parsons beats Dallas Goedert across his face, makes a tackle a yard deep in the backfield. When they stack the box like that, when they bring it to prevent an inside run, what do? Quick pitch, right or left? Quick pitch, get it outside. Don't hand it off. Quick pitch. Out of pistol, out of ace, whatever. What you want to do is get the ball out an extra 3 to 5 yards to your left or to your right to give your running back a head start. Even a swing pass would work. I don't like swing passes. I want to get the ball in the running back's hands as fast as possible. That's why I say you run a quick pitch. Dallas killed us with that. 3rd and short, everybody stacked. What do? That comes out, pitches it to Zeke, 13-yard gain or whatever that was. Common sense stuff that we don't do, and it drives me nuts. Going back to Pele, Uncle Nasty Nuts. Uncle Nasty Nuts 856. Damn, you got to get props for the game, dude. That's Uncle Nasty Nuts. That's funny. But yeah, man. Yo, dude, fullback is a lost art. They don't play fullbacks now. If they want a fullback now, you know what they do? They bring the tight end in and have the tight end block. Fullbacks don't exist anymore. There would be no room for like John Ritchie in today's NFL. But it's funny that some of the best to ever do it had fullbacks, but they just totally abandoned that. Not that you can't put your fullbacks in the pass patterns and stuff like that, but this is a pass happy league now. So I'm with you, man. Running backs. They treat us like redheaded stepchilds, man. No love. No love. So back to the original point, if they did bring Josh Jacobs in here, so what? If they run him like they've been running the running backs this year, that's a bad move. You know, you got to let them cook. So it looks like I saw somebody said this. Where were you at? Wasn't that far back. Who said they said Howard Eskin said that Jalen was going to play. Chris. Hurts is playing. I wonder if he's going to start, though. I mean, a dumb question. If he's going to play, he's going to start. Let's just keep it at that. Let's keep it at that. We need to wrap up and handle our business so all of this sit, start, all of that kind of stuff is a non-factor. Stuff that we shouldn't even be worried about. Take care of business, and that way you know, even if you get 2 weeks is a long time to not play. So just to sit back, and I do not want to be rusted. Yo, Derry, I'm with you, fam. You know what? Here's my fear. You just reminded me of something, Derry. I'm not afraid of coming up against another team that's better than us. I think we have the best team across the board, hands down. Anybody in the NFC. And we can hang with anybody in the AFC. I think across the board, position by position, we have the best team. If you want to look at Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback. They don't have a better team now. Their defense is suspect. Patrick Mahomes makes up from that deficiency. What I am concerned is that when we get in the playoffs, is that we are going to get out-coached. Because when you get in the playoffs, you can't say, I wish we would have ran our running back a little bit more in the first half. We definitely got to give him more opportunities. You don't have time to do that. You got to know what you know, and you got to get it going. That is not the time to come up with those discoveries. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, don't do nothing but rhyme. You already know. And the way we ran the ball against Dallas, the way we ran our offense in Chicago was a travesty. We made that game infinitely more difficult than it had to be. And that was because in 20-degree weather, our coach decided to throw the ball every daggone where, which is what got our quarterback hurt. Not giving the ball to the running back, calling the RPOs, and throwing a long ball right off the bat. Start with the run game. You will have ample opportunity to throw the ball. What is it with these coaches that think they just got to throw the ball everywhere? and they do the pass to open up the run, and it doesn't work that way. Does not work that way. The only quarterback that can do that is Mahomes, and Mahomes is scrambling for his life, making plays happen, buying time to make something happen, because that's Mahomes' secret weapon. Not even a secret weapon. He can scramble. When Mahomes scramble, he's buying time. Very similar to Kyler Murray, but Mahomes just does it better. And he buys times, and it is impossible for DBs to cover that long. They can't do it. You're going to pop free at some point in time. I would imagine that they practice that. Kansas City, they run a drill where they run the pass patterns, and it is up to Mahomes to just scramble around and wait for somebody to break free. You don't know where he's going to be. You don't know when he's going to do it, but he does it, and all he needs is that half a second to get that ball in there. I think they practice that. Sean, it doesn't. We already know it. I don't get caught up in personnel. Personnel doesn't matter unless you trying to get in a package and you trying to bring your strong package in there because it's third and short or something like that. That's when packages really come into play. But don't get caught up into that, because every team has plays where basically in your film room, you're like, listen, this is what we're going to run. Y'all know we running it. They know we're running it. But they can't stop us. Those are the plays you want, dude. Every team's got a couple of, just like with us. Prime example is when it's third and short, everybody and their mama know quarterback sneak. They know what we do. They know how we do it. Nobody can stop it. Nobody. And every team has a couple of plays like that where they just know this is the play we're going to run to get things going. And everybody knows you're running it, but you can't stop it. For the most part, some of that was on the RPO stuff, but we got to have some run plays, which is like I'm running behind Lane. I'm running behind guard, tackle, go. That's where I'm going. I trust that Lane Johnson is going to get his block. I trust that our guard is going to get his block, and we're going to get at least 3 to 5 yards on this play. Can't stop it. Joe, I would agree. Maybe not 30, unless he's just going off. If you're running 25 times a game and you averaging above 5 yards a carry, then yes, you keep running the ball. 30 times a game, absolutely. He must be going off to be able to run the ball that much. But if we're just killing the offensive, or if we're established dominance on the defensive line, you run it till they stop. And normally, if we're doing that, they can't stop it. They can't. And I don't understand. I always think that sometimes pro coaches get too cute for their own good. Because only in high school would you run a play that nobody can stop over and over and over again. That's amateur. No, it's not. If it's going to work, run it again. So we'll see what they're going to do. But they can't be BSing with this game. Let's put these boys away, run the ball early, throw the ball. I want them to hand the ball off to Jalen Hurts. Hand the ball off to Miles Sanders, and I want Jalen Hurts to throw. That's what I want to happen. I don't want him running RPOs. I want him to give the ball to Miles Sanders and letting loose. Because I want to see both Devontae and A.J. Brown get like 12 catches each. That's why I think we're going to throw the ball so much, because they want to get that record. They want to be 1 and 2 on the receivers list for receptions in the game. And we still got another game left. So, but if we win this game, there's a good chance that Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown might not play next week either. So if they're going to put it down this week, they got to put it down now. So we'll see what's going to happen. Joe, right now, Miles is at 4.97. So I'm gonna go ahead and add up, round up, and get 5. I'm with you. Definitely with you, bro. So we got to run the ball, man. But we beating a dead horse right now. If they ain't figured it out now, they ain't gonna get it. So, but let's get through a clean game, no injuries. Let's take care of business, and let's get that number 1 seed and be done with these questions. Get everybody healthy. We get the time off. If we got to see the Cowboys again, we'll handle the Cowboys or whoever's coming to town. The big thing is let's get through this game with no injuries, clinch this win, clinch this division, home field advantage. Everybody got to come to the link. And the one thing that everybody forgets, when you get that first week bye, you got to win 2 games. Then you play for the Super Bowl. That's a big mental difference to me. We have to win 2 games, and then we play for the Super Bowl. And it be the realism, the expectations become real. Just like now, we got to win the Saints, and you got to win the Giants. 2 games. If we clinch up the Saints, it's the same situation in the playoffs. Whoever that first game comes to the link. We got to win that. Whoever that second game is, they come to the link. We got to win that. Then we're playing for the big one. That's where you want to be. And we have a legitimate chance to make that happen. So let's be about that business. All right, fellas. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to watch this the Cowboys and the Titans game. It ain't going to be much of a game. I expect Dallas to whoop all up on the Titans because Derrick Henry's not playing. So Malik Willis is going to be running for his life all night. So we'll see what's going to happen. But I will see y'all next week. Check me out on my YouTube channel at Pro Fan Talk on YouTube. Trying to get some new content every day. If you got suggestions, let me know. And I appreciate you guys. And I will see you next week. And hopefully as NFC division champs, NFC East champs. Right? So let's be out of here. Y'all have a good night. Enjoy the game. And I will see you next week. Peace.